good evening to one and all. This gives me immense pleasure to welcome all the dear friends who have joined today for today's session. Baha'i Academy, Panchgani, in collaboration with Alzheimer's and Related Disorders Society of India, that is ARDSI Mumbai Chapter, has arranged this online observance of World Alzheimer's Month of September 2021. The theme is No Dementia, No Alzheimer's. I welcome all the dignitaries of today's session, the members of Baha'i Academy's Global Unity Campaigner, Pan India Group members, students of ASHA course, that is Abilities, Skills, and Healthy Attitudes, the students of MMM course also, Me, My World, and My Mission, members of faculty development programs, doctors, teachers, and principals of different institutions, and all the international friends also who have joined for today's session. A very warm welcome to all of you. Now, I would like to request Preeti ji to kindly play this health and healing prayer for all of us. Thank you so much.
Thy name is my healing, oh my God, and remembrance of thee is my remedy. Nearness to thee is my home, and love for thee is my companion. Thy mercy to me is my healing, and my succor in both this world and the world to come. Thy mercy to me is my healing, and my succor in both this world and the world to come. Thou verily art the all bountiful, the all knowing, the all wise. Thou verily art the all bountiful, the all knowing, the all wise.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this wonderful prayer. Now, I would like to request Preeti ji kindly to launch the poll that we have for all the participants today.
Yes, dear friends. So you can select multiple answers from these options. So options are: I'm below 30 years, I'm in my 30s to mid 60s, I'm above 65 years old, I have elderly person at home or workplace. I'm interested to learn about Alzheimer's. So you can choose more than one option. I would like to request all the participants to please participate. So we can see here 11% of the participants are saying they are below 30s, and the mid 30s and 60 there are 57 participants, and above 65 there are 26% participants, and they are with the company of elderly person and workplace. 22 participants are there, and we have the highest count, that is 61% of the participants who wants to learn, who are interested to learn about Alzheimer's. Thank you.
Thank you so much, dear Preeti ji. Thank you all the participants for actively being part of this particular poll. Now, I would like to request the director of Baha'i Academy, our dear Lesan Azadi sir, for his opening remarks for today's session. Over to you, dear sir.
Hello, good evening, friends. It's wonderful to be with you all, and nice to see you, friends. I'd like to also welcome you on behalf of the Baha'i Academy and the Alzheimer's and Related Disorders Society of India, ARDSI, which is represented by Miss Vidya Shanoy today. We are happy to have you, madam. And Dr. Avinash D'Souza, member of the IIOPM Australia. And we have Dr. Arman Sabit, also from Australia. Their introduction will be then given later on by my colleague, Mrs. Sally Dubash. Friends, the poll indicated that really, first of all, a majority of us are interested in this subject, which is wonderful. And quite a few of us have got elderly people at home that we need to take care, and quite a few of us are also between 30 to 60 or above 65. So this really makes it that today's topic is quite related to all of us. And I'm sure that today will fulfill its purpose, that is to not only know about Alzheimer's and dementia, but also we all will be motivated to actually do something. That is the real purpose of having these programs in this fashion, because the need is so great, friends. And I'm sure that by the time we reach the end of the program, you all will agree that there is a lot that we all can do to help those who are suffering from this very unfriendly disease, which is really bringing suffering to millions of people across the world. Friends, on the one hand, we are engaged in discovering the mysteries of the universe, and we override the rules of nature. That's how our intellect is really enabling us to do. But on the other hand, we are facing the fear of losing our intelligence and our memory power, which is our most precious asset. And that happens at the end of our journey in this world. So it is an eclipse before the sunset. Friends, forgetfulness, which is characteristics of Alzheimer's disease and dementia, usually leads to negative consequences, disorientation, fractured sense of identity, and broken, relationships. We can see how this happens when someone is afflicted with memory loss or Alzheimer's disease. And without memories, the web of the relationship that one makes during his life and binds him together with other people, with the community, and the sense of one's identity really disappears. Alzheimer's disease, which is also referred to as AD, is the cause of 60 to 70%, of the cases of dementia. The most common early symptoms is difficulty in remembering recent events. Later on, Dr. Arman Sabet will tell us more about the characteristics of this disease. Its causes are yet to be fully understood, but what we know is that there are many factors which are associated with gradual development of Alzheimer's disease. Now, in 2015, friends, which is 6 years ago, there were about 13 million people who were, afflicted by AD, and there were about 50 million people in all forms of dementia in 2020, which is 1 year ago. And according to a UN report, it's expected that the number of those who are affected by Alzheimer's and dementia will rise to 152 million people by 2050. That means 3 times the number of the people are affected today. Now, it most often begins in people over 65 years of age, although up to 10% of the cases are early onset, which is affecting those who are in their 30s and mid-60s, between 30 to mid-60. There are physical causes that I'm sure Dr. Arman Sabit will tell us. Women get more affected by that. And then Alzheimer has got a great financial burden on the society. It is actually at par with the cost of cancer and heart diseases. In US alone, $200 billion per year is the cost. Now, when we talk of the challenges and implications of Alzheimer's disease, they are numerous. They are physical, they are psychological, friends, they are social, they are spiritual. So whatever you can think of, the implications are. Now, the challenges are not only for those who are afflicted by the disease, but also challenges are there for those who care for them. We often focus only on those who are ill, but life will never be the same for everyone close to the patient. Friends, a dysfunctional family that must regroup in the face of this crisis. That is the experience of those who are taking care or who live in company of their dear ones who have this problem. To think about social, psychological, and spiritual implications of Alzheimer's, let us think of the words of the 13 attributes of God in Hebrew. Adonai, Adonai, God gracious and compassionate. Just look at the qualities of God which are described here. Gracious, compassionate, patient, abounding in kindness and faithfulness, assuring love for 1,000 generations from eternity to eternity, forgiving iniquity, transgression, and sin, and granting pardon. Friends, compassion stands out as one of the most important qualities that is required by the caregivers. Later on, dear Vidya Shenoji will tell us about caregiving, but we realize that really those who are giving care to the patients, they are called the hidden victims of this disease. Now, according to Abdul Baha in the Baha'i Academy literature, he says, the mind is circumscribed, but the soul is limitless. Our mind is limited. Our soul is not limited. And we as human beings, we don't have mind alone, but we have a soul. Caregivers should reach out to that limitless soul, because reaching out to the limited mind is blocked. As the patient becomes increasingly inaccessible through verbal communication, greater effort should be made to establish and maintain a contact with his or her feelings and soul. Spiritual and moral dimension, friends, because the physical connection is stopped. But how do we know if we are in touch with the feelings of someone who cannot respond adequately to a question? How can we reach a person's soul when that person despises us as strangers, never to be trusted? Difficult task. Many people don't know how to relate to one another through their souls, because we fear that we may become accused of being superstitious. We're talking to the soul of somebody, oh, people consider as a superstition. Often family members and caregivers of an Alzheimer's patient are frustrated and are concerned with the mirror, not the sun. Friends, the mirror and sun example is again there in the Baha'i Academy literature, which exemplifies our mind as the mirror and our soul as the sun, which shines upon the mirror. So if the mirror is defective, the soul is not. It continues shining, the sun continues shining despite the defect that has appeared in the mirror. So the many family members don't look for the rays of the soul beyond the mirror. They judge the patient according to physical values, and they find it, disappointing. So spiritual contact, friends, comes through prayer, through meditation, through unconditional love and affection. These are the ways that we can connect to the patients, a contact which they need so much more when we are unable to verbally communicate. So we, as caretakers, begin a new journey with the patients. So caregivers are like the co-travelers of patients, friends. Although it appears a very vigorous physical journey, it is also a spiritual companionship. It is a spiritual companionship that the caregiver has with the patient, has to establish with the patient. It is an act of faith more than an act of reason. So friends, by giving care to these patients, we give a new meaning to our lives. We develop the virtues that we need in our own journey in this world, which is, in fact, the purpose of our life is to acquire virtues. And taking care of the patients of Alzheimer's and dementia is an opportunity for us to develop those virtues. United Nations Organization is urging the world to tap into the often overlooked contributions of the older people. It is calling for integrated care to improve well-being and ensure they have the opportunity to contribute to development. So friends, the elderly amidst us are very precious, and it is our responsibility to involve them in our own growth and in development of the world around us. I'm sure that today's session with our dear resource persons, Dr. Sabet, Dr. D'Souza, Shenoy Madam, and then your own questions that you are welcome to put your questions. We'll have a question answer session. And then later on, you will offer your services. You will offer, in fact, your action plans that you like to do over the next few days. September is the Alzheimer's month, friends. What are you going to do? Small or big, doesn't matter. They're all so valuable. We hope that today's session will result into some concrete action that we all will take. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, dear sir. Your speech was so motivational and factual as well. Definitely, the situation is very, very challenging. But I'm sure, as you have mentioned, that together, all of us who are present, we will be able to find certain constructive solutions which we can follow in our day-to-day lives. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for these wonderful opening remarks.
Thank you.
How Alzheimer changes the brain.
In healthy people, all sensations, movements, thoughts, memories, and feelings are the result of signals that pass through billions of nerve cells or neurons in the brain. Neurons constantly communicate with each other through electrical charges that travel down axons, causing the release of chemicals across tiny gaps to neighboring neurons. Other cells in the brain, such as astrocytes and microglia, clear away debris and help keep neurons healthy. In a person with Alzheimer's disease, the most basic form of dementia, toxic changes in the brain destroy this healthy balance. These changes may occur years, even decades, before the first signs of dementia. Researchers believe that this process involves two proteins, called beta amyloid and tau, which somehow become toxic to the brain. It appears that abnormal tau accumulates, eventually forming tangles inside neurons. And beta amyloid clumps into plaques, which slowly build up between neurons. As the level of amyloid reaches a tipping point, there is a rapid spread of tau throughout the brain. But tau and beta amyloid may not be the only factors involved in Alzheimer's. Other changes that affect the brain may also play a role over time. The vascular system may fail to deliver sufficient blood and nutrients to the brain. The brain may lack the glucose needed to power its activity. Chronic inflammation sets in as microglial cells fail to clear away debris, and astrocytes react to distressed microglia. Eventually, neurons lose their ability to communicate. As neurons die, the brain shrinks, beginning in the hippocampus, a part of the brain important to learning and memory. People may begin to experience memory loss, impaired decision-making, and language problems. As more neurons die throughout the brain, a person with Alzheimer's gradually loses the ability to think, remember, make decisions, and function independently. Achieving a deeper understanding of the molecular and cellular mechanisms and how they may interact is vital to the development of effective therapies. Much progress has been made in identifying various underlying factors. Advances in brain imaging allow us to see the course of plaques and tangles in the living brain. Blood and fluid biomarkers are providing insights about when the disease starts and how it progresses. More is also known about the genetic underpinnings of the disease and how they can affect particular biological pathways. These advances enable the development and testing of promising new therapies, including drugs that reduce or clear the increase of tau and amyloid proteins in the brain, therapies targeting the vascular system, glucose metabolism, and inflammation, and lifestyle interventions like exercise or diet, and behavioral approaches like social engagement that may enhance brain health. Research is moving quickly, ever closer to the day when we can delay or even prevent the devastation of dementia.